Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Redneck Ways. We made it, guys. I'm at the campground. Everything is good. The sound of the crickets and the lotus. Had a little bit of trouble getting here. I checked air pressure in the tires in the boat, and one was low. So I went to pump it up. Well, the valve stem got stuck, so I went plumb flat. I thought, well, I'll fix that. Went and put a brand new valve stem in it. So you can't see me, guys. These lights ain't super bright. But anyway, the valve stem the new one I put in, it got stuck. And finally I got it after about half an hour. And then I got to the campground and was backing everything in, backing the boat up on the hill, and the starter went out. When the wires came off the starter, it's just been one of them days. But I'll give you a look around the campgrounds, guys, and tomorrow hopefully we'll hit the lake and catch some big old bass. Alright, guys, give you a little tour. Here's the big tent over here. Up there is the kitchen. Here is my house. And I've got my TV, little TV set up, PlayStation, which we have Wi-Fi here. I didn't think we was going to. But here's our blow-up bed. If you haven't got one of these, guys, these are awesome. They've got their own pump built in the middle of the night. You can just turn it and it'll blow up and you're done. Whoever invented that. Alrighty, guys, this is day 2. Watching a little bit of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang up and at 'em. Actually, it's about noon. Been up for a little while. I have been. Well, I got to put new twine, new string on my Zebco 33. It only had about 10 feet of line on it from all the years. It's an Odie, 033. But being up here, trying to get the boat going, still having problems, which is an old boat, you know how it goes. We had problems with the controller. We've been having problems. I had problems with the cable wanting to slip out. This cable right here, it wanted to pull out, and we put a little piece of clamp, a little piece of metal inside here. Now I think that's grounding it out, because now when you mess with the throttle, it's grounding and shorting the motor so it won't go. And the other problem I'm having is I can't get this thing to prime up. I put a new filter on it. Everything was primed up before I put that on. Now since I've got that, I cannot get this thing to prime and hold prime. So the motor, it'll start and run for a second, but it runs out of fuel and dies. I can't get the pressure, so that's the deal with the old boat right now. I may not be able to get it into the lake this trip. Never know. We're going to keep working on it, but I do have to take this back apart after a while and see what's shorting it out, because every time I move this, it's rubbing on something and killing it, sending it ground. So, and also when we got down here, I don't know if I said this in the last video, I parked the truck here, backed everything in, and I went to start the truck again to pull it a little bit farther up so it wouldn't be so close to the fire pit, and it wouldn't start. And what had happened about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, me, my dad, my son, actually my son's the one that put the starter on, he put it on, and somehow the wire that he put on, it was the little clip's fault. You know, those little eyelet clips, those little round ones, it broke off. So there was a wire hanging, but thank God it was only that. So even before I got up this morning, Dad was already underneath there getting it fixed. But yeah, everything's going good. They're here at the campground on day 2. So she's just gonna have to keep working on those boats. She ain't in the water yet. She's not there yet, guys. But you know, that's how it is for all this old stuff. You know, stuff you find on Marketplace. But she's going to run one motor. When she fires up, she sounds great. I can't wait. She's got a lot of thrust. Just getting the bugs out. And the only thing is I can't get that ball to prime up. I can't get that ball. That ball's got to be solid. You shouldn't be able to hardly squeeze it. And I cannot get it. I cannot get it to prime up. And it's all because I put that filter on. But we're going to crank on it some more after a while. I'm going to fix this first, I think. Because that definitely needs fixed. Because every time I move the throttle up or down, it kills it. So that's definitely got to be fixed. So that's what I'm going to do. But man, I wish it would prime up. Talk about disappointment. All cause that won't prime. Alrighty. I'll be back here shortly. Alrighty guys, down here fishing. Looks like I'm getting a little bite. Need to reel it in a little bit. We'll let it play with it a little bit. If it takes it under, we'll grab it. A couple of guys got their boats out. But I'm going to sit here if I can catch a fish. I got it way out there this time. I think it's kind of staying. When I had it a little bit closer up here, also I moved the bobber way at about 2.5, 3 feet. The worms dangling from it. So it's staying in that place pretty good because it was just bringing it over here. It's real windy here today. If I catch anything, I'll be back. My first catch of the year, guys. He's huge. A little bluegill. Let me put him back in real quick. I guess it would be a good camping trip about a good ghost story. Well, actually it was right here in this town where we're camping at. There was this old house, and I was renting it pretty cheap because it was old. It was built in like 1895. If you know the author Jesse Stewart, then you'll know he went to the barbershop that was built on the front, because it used to be an old storefront on the front of the house, and then on the back side was the house, and there used to be a barbershop there. And then later on it was actually a place where they made guitars, fiddles, and banjos and stuff like that. A lot of history in it. And actually, when you would lay down late at night and try to go to sleep, it sounded like there was people outside talking. It sounded like 10 or 15 just people just talking. Yeah, it drive you nuts until you got used to it. But anyway, everybody knew about the old haunted house, and but you know, it was cheap. And actually, before we even moved in, the daughter of the girl I was with at the time, she was about 10 or 11, and she said, "Look, Mom, look at that little old lady on the porch." And we didn't see nobody, but she seen a little lady in the porch swing. Ain't that crazy? Kids see things that we can't see sometimes. But we all moved in. We was comfortable. I mean, it was a nice old comfortable house. Like in the living room, it had like the tin ceilings. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. If I could find a picture of them, of one of them, I'll put here. Beautiful ceiling though. It was made out of tin, and just a beautiful pattern. And that would have been their setting room and stuff. And then like there was a breezeway, and then the closets were just these huge. There was only 2 of them in the back, but they were huge to put your linens and everything in. But like I said, we heard things like when you would go to sleep and stuff, you would hear talking and stuff, and knowing there was nobody there. So we just pretty much got used to it. We lived there about a year, and before we moved. But one evening, we was all sitting there around the table, and the dining room was right in the middle of the house. And then you would exit a door there, and when you exit that door, there's a hallway, what I always called a breezeway, and then on up was the front door. Actually, the front door was, back in the old days, was over by the living room, but over years it got moved. So it was actually coming in from the hallway. Well, we was all sitting there, and we was all laughing. The 2 youngest ones, they had their spaghetti all over their face and everything, and everybody was having a good time. And then all of a sudden we heard a knock on the door, which was common. We usually always got company, but we got a knock on the door, and it was just a faint knock, but it was a knock. And then we heard in this old woman's voice saying, "Is anybody home? Hello, anybody home?" Well, I got up and went to investigate. And like I said, the hallway, it was right there. It was like 5 steps, if that, and you was at the front door. And the screen door was open. The big door was open, and the screen door was, closed. But you can, as soon as you turned that corner, you could see. Let me tell you guys, when I turned that corner and I seen nobody there, and when I walked outside and looked around the house and there was nobody there, I had goosebumps. I got cold. Everything that happens when you see a ghost happen. And that was crazy. And that voice, I can still hear it today. You just have to imagine an old woman's voice. "Anybody home?" It was creepy. But that old woman, there was an old woman that died there before we rented the house. And she had lived there. She owned the house. She had lived there like 80 years. So, they say, like in how ghost is, and can't talk. Like anytime there's ghost and stuff around, it's like a loop. And it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like it's repeating over and over. And I guess she was there so long, it was engraved in that house. She was. But that was right here in this little town. Sadly, about 2 years after we moved, the house got torn down. So It's no longer there, but it has so much history. Just the front of the storefront being a barber shop and everything. And with, like I said, Jesse Stewart, you can just, I would love to have been there and heard all the old stories told. And I'm sure they had a lot of ghost stories. But we're actually down in the older part of this town, and there's so much ghost stories here, and ghosts, and it's just really creepy. But that's the ghost story for the campfire of the night. I hope you guys are doing good. This is the end of day 1. I think I had it backwards, because my first part of this video was the beginning, and it was just, I shouldn't even count it as a day. Tonight is the end of 1. In the morning be day 2. Alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Is anybody home?